Amadara, are you ready?
Yep, ready.
Okay.
Ready as
So,
I can be.
without further ado, we'd like to introduce and please give a warm round of applause to our first speaker, Amadara, with the presentation's title Slaying the Cosplay Game.
All right, let's
Woo.
go.
Oh, please keep yourself muted during the talk.
Okay, and make sure everything's okay here. Whoop. All right, so everything good? Y'all good? All right, so
Okay, good.
nice to meet everyone virtually. This is my first time doing a presentation like this over Zoom, so please bear with me. But my name's Amadara Oguara, and I'm a cosplayer. And today I will be talking about my experiences in cosplay with Slaying the Cosplay Game. So let's get started. All right, so first of all, who am I? So Amadara Oguara, of course, my real name. My cosplay name is Miss Suju. So I'm from Seattle, Washington, USA. I don't know if there's any Pacific Northwest peeps out there, but if you are, rock on. That's where I'm from. And I'm a cosplayer, and I like to say alternative fashion enthusiast. I like to experiment with all sorts of fashion and styles and makeup and looks. And I would say technically I've cosplayed for 11 years. First time I cosplayed was in 2009, way back when in middle school. But I guess in more recent years, I've become more serious about it as a hobby because before I would just cosplay maybe once or twice a year at cons. And right now, I'm currently living and teaching English in Kyoto, and I've been here for a year and a half now. And so, yeah, that's just a little bit intro to me. And next, I would like to just introduce some of the cosplays I've done, some of my favorite ones. So, cosplayed from American cartoons, as you can see. So, I have, I believe on the left is Katra from She-Ra, and then I also in the middle, White Diamond from Steven Universe, and then Rainbow Quartz 2.0 from Steven Universe. So, those are two of my favorite American shows. And then next, see, I also, of course, anime is a big hobby of mine. And that was one of my, of course, kind of gateway drugs to getting into Japan in general. And so here are a couple anime cosplays I've done. So Yumeko from Kakekurui and then Toga from Boku no Hero Academia. And here are some more anime cosplays. So as you can see, the middle one is actually recent. I did that for Halloween, Nezuko from Kimetsu no Yaiba. And if you're a Kimetsu no Yaiba fan, you notice I'm wearing a Shinobu mask. And I have a Shinobu shirt too, but it's not really popping up on video, but that's fine. But yeah, of course, so a lot of anime cosplays. And also I've cosplayed from video games as well. So I'm a big Nintendo fan. So we got some Splatoon and some Pokemon. And then also, I've cosplayed based off of K-pop and J-pop idols as well, recreating their looks or homage to their looks. So if any K-pop fans, I have Shiwon from Super Junior that I wore to KCON in 2015. And then this was 2019, or actually no, 2018. I was still in Seattle, but I went to Perfume Future Pop concert. Or never mind, that was 2019. I keep thinking I've been in Japan for like 2+ years, but no, it's not quite there yet. So yeah, 2019. So those are just some of the few of the looks I've created. So I mean, assuming that you're here for this presentation, I'm sure you probably have an idea of what cosplay is, but I figured just for to look professional, I'll just define it anyway. So cosplay is the act of dressing up as a character from a cartoon, anime, film, book, or video game. And there are also celebrity cosplays that people do. And as you can see, I've cosplayed K-pop and J-pop idols, so that can also count. And there are people who cosplay as a hobby, and then people who are also professional cosplayers. So you can enjoy it either way. And then as far as costumes go, there's a wide variety of ways you can get a cosplay costume. You can make it yourself, or you can get it commissioned. And Also, another popular way is thrifting like items from the store and trying to modify them. Or you can also get ready-made cosplays from all sorts of websites online, Amazon, eBay, wherever. There's a lot of places you can get them from. And I'd say in more recent years, cosplay has definitely become more popular and it's become more accessible compared to when I first tried it way back when in 2009. And a point I'll reiterate all the time, anyone can cosplay. It doesn't matter how old you are or who you are. There's all sorts of ways to enjoy the hobby. And so I wanted to share just some of my friends just to have more variety of cosplays. So I've also included their Instagram accounts down below each photo. So please check out some of my friends, and big thank you to them for sharing their photos with me. I actually got a lot more photos than I expected. So in the future, if I do this sort of presentation, I'd hope to showcase more people, but here's who I could fit for now. And here are just some more of my friends. Love my friends, but as you can see, just the wide variety of characters and different styles. There's really just all sorts of things you can do, and like anything you can imagine, really, you can bring to life through cosplay. And here's some more, just a few awesome pics. And as you can see, there's different ways you can take photos too. Like you can get professional shoots, or you can take a photo and edit the background using software, or just take regular photos with your phone or camera. So all sorts of ways to shoot cosplay as well. And so I'll get into my experiences as a cosplayer. So like I said, I started in 2009. I attended my home con in Seattle, Sakura Con. I was a little middle schooler, went for one day with my parents and saw how everything was, and was just like blown away by the level of cosplay back then, which I'm sure even now though it's really just exceeded that. And for me, I use a mix of like ready-made, homemade, and thrifted costumes. So kind of depends what I want to do. So there's like pros and cons to each. So for me, I'm still learning how to sew. I don't know how to sew like completely on my own. So back home, if I was making cosplays, I got a lot of help from my grandma. She's like a really good seamstress. And so she would help me with a lot of my costumes. Thanks, grandma. And she was really into it too. She actually quite enjoyed like helping me with my cosplays because it kind of just be a new and unique challenge, and you get really creative with them. And I've had experiences buying them, but I would say with buying cosplays, the quality can really vary. You really have to look at what you're getting, and sometimes you can get something great and other times you can get something shoddy. So I'll say in like the photo that I have right here of me as Ryuko from Kill la Kill, that's a cosplay that I bought, and the quality was okay, like for a ready-made one, but I would say like the ribbon would start, doing weird things and falling apart. And the sizing, despite going by like the measurements, it was like slightly too big. It's a little bit off. So you can experience that. And sometimes they can also make them slightly too small. There's all sorts of weird things that can happen with ready-made cosplay. So it's a mixed bag. And then thrifting, I really like to do for costumes. I enjoy thrift shopping in general. I enjoy it's kind of like a treasure hunt. And so I really like being able to find things and being able to modify them. And it's a little bit easier to modify things that are already made for me since I'm still a very beginner when it comes to sewing. And I'll say through cosplay. So that's the costume side. So next, the social side has been really awesome, I would say, because I've been able to make friends like from all over the world. Like whether I've met them through cons or I've met them through social media or just out and about in daily life. And then maybe we happen to find that we share this interest. It's been a really great way to network with people. And definitely cosplay has also helped me through rough patches in my life because sometimes in a way it's like when it sucks to be you, why not be something else? Why not be another character for a day, and have some fun and just, really get into it. And then just in general, I like to create, so it really feeds that side. And yeah, like I said, I used to mainly cosplay at cons, but then like as I got older, I was kind of like, you can cosplay whenever you want to, like you can do stuff at home. And I got really inspired also seeing others on social media doing their thing. So I was like, you know what, you can do that too. So I really got into it, I would say these last couple of years. And it's been a really awesome, colorful hobby of mine. And so here are some throwback photos since I was talking about being into it since back in the day. So as you can see, 2011, me with my friends, we were very young. And then let me see, I'm trying to look at the badges. I think the one I'm dressed as Stalking, the kind of long hair blue outfit. I can see it looks like 2013, so that's pretty old. And the top center photo is from, I was in middle school. Like I think I was in 7th grade. And so I wanted, it was during Halloween, and it's supposed to be kind of like a card captor Sakura costume because I was really into that series back then. I still do love it now as well, but I was really into it back then. And yeah, my grandma helped me make that costume. And I remember I was just like super excited about it. But then, of course, at school, it's like middle school. So I didn't want to sometimes admit that I was being an anime character. So I was like, oh, it's a fairy costume. Yeah, if anyone questioned me about it. Now, if it was me now, I wouldn't care. But back then, I was like, oh, yeah, it's just a fairy. And then the Madoka Magica cosplay group. So here are just some friends. These are people actually I randomly met. This is the first time we met, was at the convention, and they needed a mommy to like complete their group, and they're trying to do a shoot, and they just like, I was going up like the escalator and they just found me and they're like, hey, can you do this photo shoot with us? So I was like, sure. And so that was like my first time doing that sort of thing, and that was probably, I think I was still in high school. I forget which year, but I was definitely still in high school, so still like several years ago. And then the bottom center photo, that's like Marina from Splatoon, and that's more recent. That would be 2018. Yeah, it's more recent. And even in 2018, again, that's the year I kind of started doing more kind of polished cosplay looks and trying to pay attention to different details. But yeah, as you can see, Sakura Con's the main con I've been to, but I've attended a few others as well. Okay, so next is my experiences as a Black cosplayer, especially, have definitely been like the main experience of, as a cosplayer, what's most important to me. And so during 28 days of Black cosplayer, 29 days of Black cosplay, so this is in February. And so, because February is also Black History Month. So these two hashtags, depending on if it's a leap year or not, we use them, to kind of promote and uplift and share different Black cosplayers during the month of February and kind of give them more exposure. And I came across this hashtag in 2018. I actually didn't know about it before, and just saw all these really awesome Black cosplayers. And I was like, wow, I really need to get into this. There's a lot of people who look like me who do this. And then also a lot of people just, to inspire others who look like me to do cosplay as well. I thought, it'd be cool too if I could be like them. And so I started sharing my own cosplays under the hashtag. And the reason why these two hashtags are so important is because Black cosplayers definitely face a lot of discrimination all across the board, whether it's from, photographers, brands, cosplay future accounts, or other, non-Black cosplayers. And people see my cosplays in general, if it's my friends or anyone, they think, oh, it looks awesome. But anytime I post something, like without fail, honestly, there always has to be like one person, or there's, trolls and stuff, and different sorts of like hate comments and harassment. So people always be like, oh, you're the N-word version of this character, or, X character isn't Black. Or they'll be like, you ruined this character for me, or you should cosplay characters that are actually your skin tone. And they'll try to bring it up as if it's, not accurate and that sort of BS. And honestly, I feel like all these bullets, one could make like a huge separate presentation like about all of these. So I'm just kind of I'm going through them really fast. I wish I could talk about them more, but definitely like if you there's a lot of articles online and things that people have written and you can check them out if you want to do further research. So there's also like huge issues of what we call blackface or brown face or yellow face in the cosplay community. Sometimes in general, we might say race facing. So this is when cosplayers like will try to change their skin tone using makeup that's like, not their skin tone and try to like look like a character from another race, or they tape their eyes and other things like that. And considering the history of blackface being used as a way to demean black people, it's really wrong. And just in general, like dressing up as a race that's not yours. Like when I cosplay, I don't like change my skin or anything, but some people think, oh, to be accurate, they should do this, but really you don't. And also, if you're putting on my skin tone, like at the end of the day, you can just wash that off. You'll never know like my experiences of being discriminated against in the world, but I can't wash my own skin tone off. So it's just something to think about. And there's just a lot of painful history, and it's really easy to educate yourself. But some people, the issue is one thing if you don't know, and then people tell you. But then if you double down on that, then that's when it becomes problematic. And that's when it's just not good. And also, there's a lot of colorism in the cosplay community. So I would say, like, for me, like, I definitely do not go through the same amount of racism and discrimination as someone with a darker skin tone than me, and the same amount of judgment. And so that's another big thing. Like, sometimes if people want to share cosplayers of color, they'll kind of lean towards sharing lighter skinned ones. And that's also very problematic. But that's why I say Black cosplayers, we really just had to make our own creative space in the cosplay community. And I say, like, my experiences in our spaces is pretty positive, and I've been able to be inspired and uplifted by other Black cosplayers. And then we kind of just help each other out and stick together. And I'm just really grateful for that. And there's just a lot of talented people. And I just wish that more of us would get the recognition that we deserve and also get the respect that we deserve. Because, cosplay should be fun for everyone and it should be a safe space for everyone. But until that's a reality, we just honestly just got to keep doing what we're doing and kind of just ignore the haters and do our best. But yeah, so on the flip side, cosplaying in Japan has been, kind of it's been different than my experiences in America. So I have cosplayed in Shibuya. This is actually during my study abroad in 2016. So I wasn't living in Kyoto at the time, but I did the crazy Shibuya Halloween. But I think that was the year before it started getting too crazy. And I think is the year before someone like, people flipped a car or something like that, I think. So I wasn't there that year. I was there the year before. And then after that, it seems like it's just gotten pretty wild. But had a really good time cosplaying in Shibuya and just like meeting all sorts of people. And I dressed as Sailor Venus, and a lot of people liked it. So that was pretty cool. And then as for attending Japanese conventions, I attended Tokyo Game Show and Anime Japan. And unfortunately, I don't really have any pics, but I kind of just dressed kind of in a casual outfit for those because to cosplay at Japanese conventions, typically you have to like bring all your makeup and clothes there, and they want you to change in the changing station at the convention center. You can't just come. So that's like one major difference I noticed between Japanese conventions and American ones. And then also, I would say, kind of observing, it seemed like a lot of the cosplay, like it was very high level, kind of almost like professional. So I felt like a little like intimidated. But as for me now, I wanted to cosplay at conventions this year, but of course, like everything got canceled and probably will get canceled next year too, some of them. So we'll see what happens, but I'll have more on that sort of experience in the future, hopefully. And then, of course, I've cosplayed for my students at school for Halloween, and they love it. Like, I'm like really just like the cool teacher. I'm really the cool teacher, and because I know, especially nowadays, everyone's into Kimetsu no Yaiba, and I did Nezuko for Halloween this year, and they were just absolutely rabid living. Like, I made their life, and I passed out little stickers to them too. So ever since then, like anytime I come to school, they'll literally just bring it up. They'll be like, "Oh, Nezuko Sensei, Nezuko Sensei." Or they'll be like, "Thank you for the stickers and stuff." And will you dress up for us again? Or they gave me suggestions for other characters I should dress up as in the future too. So I would like to do that, hopefully, eventually. But and also doing photo shoots in Japan. So I think up above, I have a picture of me. I cosplayed Mizore Shirayuki from Rosario Vampire, if anyone remembers that manga. It's kind of old. But yeah, I did a photo shoot with one of my friends who's also they're an ALT in Japan as well, and they also take photos. And we kind of just we went out to Osaka, and this was sometime I think it was might have I think it
Amadara,
was
I just
last
want to
year
say you're
before.
at 20 minutes.
Okay, at 20 minutes. Okay, you're almost at the end. Sorry. Yeah, so we did the photo shoot and kind of just do our thing. But unfortunately, because of COVID, I haven't been able to really do as many photo shoots as I'd like. And then I've also been featured in Ajet magazine, October 2019 issue, and I talked about cosplay there. And then there's Koku Zine, which is by Black Lives Matter Tokyo. It's like a charity zine that I highly recommend everyone to check out on their Instagram for some details. And I think it's up for pre-order right now. And I'm not sure of the release date, but they said they'll send me one soon. So I also talked about my cosplay experiences and being a Black cosplayer, as well as just in general being Black in Japan and there. So check that out if you want. And so yeah, that's just the AJET magazine article. As you can see, I reused the title because I wasn't creative, sorry, but it's a good title, so I decided to keep it. And I had this slide about what not to say due to Black cosplayers. I'll go through it really fast. So one is the you should cosplay Storm, or you'd make a great insert brown character. Sometimes people make this comment, and I know they have good intentions, but it's kind of just, boxing us all into a box that, you can only be these characters because they look like you and stuff like that. And it's the same thing with if you're doing a group cosplay and assuming your friend is going to cosplay the brown character by default, or even worse, just automatically assigning that character to them. It's pretty crappy. And then, although I mentioned the 28 days of Black cosplay and 29 days of Black cosplay hashtags, it does become an issue when you only retweet or share content during February, or when something horrible happens to Black people. Like earlier this year, like when George Floyd was murdered, like a lot of people started posting about, supporting Black creatives and stuff like that. And I gained an influx of followers, but it was just like, it really felt wrong because it's kind of just like, only when something bad happens to Black people, then suddenly you want to like uplift and support us. Just kind of awkward. And then in the end, also only retweeting or sharing the same, less than 5 acceptable famous Black cosplayers and acting like it's diversity. It's just tokenization, really. So it's not cool. And then again, if you think promoting diversity will ruin the aesthetic of your feed, or talking about racial issues is uncomfortable and will ruin your feed, or happy fandom escape, there's just really no excuse for that. Like, we can't escape through fandom, the things we go through in our everyday life, but it's just, yeah, it just gets really ridiculous. And then also for photographers, there's like the issue of, sometimes they'll say that photographing or editing darker skin tones is quote unquote too hard, and then just not having a diverse portfolio. But that's inexcusable too. You're just a bad photographer if you claim that that's too hard for you, really. And then also just claiming the cosplay community is accepting of everyone, because we still aren't there yet. So it's not true. We can work towards that, but it's really not true. So we can't pretend that there are not issues. Okay, so I'm almost there, sorry. So what we can do to make cosplay more inclusive is end the obsession with accuracy. So quote unquote accuracy about skin tone and stuff, like it's just totally BS. And there's so many different ways to cosplay and portray a character. There's no such thing as accuracy. So it's really not an excuse. And also support and share diverse cosplayers, fight against bullying, harassment if you see it, and then hold other cosplayers accountable for their racism, whether they're famous or not. It really doesn't matter the clout they have. Everyone should be held accountable for racism or blackface or any sort of negativity. And also in the end, we just need to be kind and enjoy the costumes. Like, it's supposed to be fun, so we all just need to be kinder. And so I kind of mentioned cosplay in the COVID-19 world. So like I said, cons all over the world have been canceled this year and likely into 2021. So we rely on self-photography and private shoots, and then closet cosplay and cosplaying on a budget. And then you can find lots of cosplay on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, of course. And then just wanted to note, cosplayers are human too, and sometimes we need a break. So if your favorite cosplayer is not outputting content as normal, I mean, especially considering the pandemic, it's been very stressful. Like, kind of just be more empathetic to it. We love to do our art, but sometimes it's hard to be inspired, especially when like the world around you's falling apart. So everyone deserves a break. And so in the end, cosplay is inspiring, uplifting, and fun. Let's ensure it's a positive experience for all. And again, I like to reiterate, cosplay is for everyone. And so, live out your fantasy and enjoy yourself. And so thank you for listening. Sorry for going over time. And you can find me on Instagram at Miss_Suju. And you can also find me on Twitter at Miss_Suju_cause. Okay, thank you for listening. Sorry for going on too long again, but thank you.
Thank you very much. Another round of applause to Amadara for a fantastic talk. Yeah, I guess since we're all on Zoom, we should do the sign language version.
We're all
Okay.
here. Yeah, we can.
Okay. So yeah. Amadara, if you can stop your screen sharing, we can start
Okay,
taking questions. We
sweet.
got a couple more minutes for
Okay,
all that.
perfect.
Yeah, floor's open to both the Zoom and the YouTube. We'll take any questions from Zoom.
I have a question.
Yes.
So regarding cosplayers, is there a way, for example, let's say like there's a company that might be trying to advertise something, maybe like a drink or a movie or a game or whatever, and they're looking for cosplayers to help push that agenda. Is there like a preferred method of contacting people in those profession?
I guess, yeah, contacting cosplayers, usually people might have, their contact information with this email, or a lot of the time nowadays, like a lot of companies, maybe say if they have an Instagram, they'll just reach out to you through DM and things like that. But yeah, usually if you have a preferred, usually it's email or DM to contact cosplayers.
Regarding that, would you recommend for cosplayers to have like open DMs or like an email listed in their bio info and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, even if you don't have a lot of followers, like you would be surprised sometimes who reaches out to you. Like, I had this one, like, it was kind of just a random company reach out to me, but they offered me like a free wig, like if I was willing to, leave a like for an Amazon review, things like that. And sometimes there's different kinds of like, fandom type brands that maybe they're making, shirts or sweaters or whatever. And sometimes they like to have cosplayers if you like post about it. And yeah, usually definitely have your DMs open if you can, or have an email contact that people can reach you at, because you'd be surprised what you'll receive sometimes.
Okay. We have a looks like we have a question from Matt. Uh, if Matt, I guess we should read this out. He's muted right now, but have you found that the level of acceptance of cosplay as a mainstream interest has increased over the years? From the little that I know, cosplay has been quite accepted in Japan for some time, but maybe less in Western countries.
Yeah, I definitely think in Western countries, yeah, maybe it's a little bit, yeah, less than Japan. But I think, yeah, definitely in more recent years nowadays, it's kind of become, kind of a more quote unquote, cooler hobby, or like hobby that people find interesting. And also like accessibility of materials, like Spirit Halloween even like has a lot of cosplay stuff nowadays. And I'm like, if I had this in middle school, like I would have been absolutely living. So yeah, I think it's become a lot more accepted, even though it's still definitely like some people still think it's very weird, but it's definitely become more accepted, I think, in recent times.
We
I
have
have a
time for
question.
one quick question.
Can I do a quick question? I guess like in the future, what do you hope to be doing with cosplay?
In the future, what I hope to be doing with cosplay, I would love to become the level of seamstress in which I can make my own cosplays and participate in competitions. I think
Nice.
participating in cosplay competition would be really awesome. So
Would you like to do it professionally? Like
professionally, yeah, honestly, if I
full-time
have the
job as a
opportunity,
cosplayer?
I think it'd be awesome as a job as well. Like
Mm,
if there's an opportunity, I would definitely go for it.
nice. Thank
Mm.
you.
I wonder what the visa category that
Visa
would be
requirement,
in
like
Japan.
entertainer. I don't know.
I guess if you're making enough money, you can
Yeah,
sponsor
if you make a
yourself,
lot of
right?
money, yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Okay. Well, that's the time allotted. So once again, thank you very much,
All right,
Amadara,
thank
for
you.
the wonderful talk. I'm going to put 5 minutes on the clock here, which will just go for a break. So people you're welcome to refresh your drinks, go to the bathroom, but the chat and the uh, everything here is still open. So if anybody has some lingering questions, go ahead. The time starts now.